Welcome to my reality. The true enemy of humanity is disorder. Everything by design. Time to turn crap into gold. It's Rampart time. Meet Sheila. Don't worry, she bites. Stay in the light. Not all family is blood. Much family is chosen. Auntie knows best. I don't know. I have a fun new character that just came out named Yatsley in a game called Avowed. And she's so wonderful. She kind of talks like this. Hello, I'm right here. I'm short, not stupid. Yatsley, wizard extraordinaire, and a Ballarok in the bedroom. I think we're good. This is a very tough question. I'm very bad at picking favorites in general. I can pick my favorite human and my favorite dog, and after that, it's very difficult for me to pick my favorite anything. But so far, the favorite that I have played has been Monk. Because it's that wonderful combination of being able to fight and also being able to use magical abilities and whatnot. That said, I'm really excited. I have a barbarian character coming up that's not on Critical Role, but I have a barbarian character coming up on a project called Progcore that we're working on. It's a bigger world building thing. And I'm looking forward to being the tank. Because I am 5 feet tall, 98 pounds, soaking wet. Being the tank is like my lifelong dream. You know, I used to watch American Gladiators when I was a kid. Like, I really thought that I could do that. So I'm very excited about playing a barbarian. I think I love playing druids. And to date, I have never played a sorcerer, wizard, or warlock. So I have a feeling once I pick one of those, the toothpaste is not going back in the tube because I'm going to really enjoy being a spellcaster. So as you can see, I can't pick a favorite anything, basically. But I do like that the monk had so many upgrades in the 2020 in the new player's handbook and the new Dungeons and Dragons rules. So I'm looking forward to revisiting that now that those changes have been made. I will talk about Critical Role all day if you want to, because I love them. I was very lucky. I've been very lucky for many reasons, but I began playing D&D when I was 8 years old. So I had the understanding of that sort of improvised storytelling, collaborative storytelling world from a very young age. But then I had a very long period that I call the dark days of gaming, where I just wasn't playing games. Mm-hmm. And it was when Overwatch came out, actually, that I met Matt and Marisha. And we started talking about their show that they had just started a little while ago, a few years ago, and I was like, oh, I miss D&D. That sounds so cool. And then Marisha had recommended me to do another show with Geek and Sundry and had called me up and been like, I think you would like this. And I'm like, yes, I probably would. And that slowly brought me back into the world of tabletop role-playing games. So then when they called to have me do one of their early film series, it was a no-brainer to like say yes first and find out what it is later. And just because it's been so fun and they are so inviting and they're so good about bringing new people into the fold that even though they are obviously this core team that takes care of each other and have been friends forever, whenever you come in, you feel very welcome and you feel very much like they are embracing you in that project. So the characters that I've gotten to play have just been, what do you want to play, Anjali? It's been that, here's the world, what do you want to play? So they also have been very encouraging of everybody expressing themselves in their unique ways through their own characters and figuring out what they want to do, because that, I think, is so much, that's part of the joy of tabletop role-playing games, is being able to create the character you want and walk through the universe that way and explore what it's like to be in that character's shoes. And they have, they've done that for so many of us. Sure, what would you like to know? Well, I'm glad to hear that, because it was definitely one of my favorite jobs ever and one of my favorite experiences ever. There's so many things I loved about filming that show. Because there were no big names on it, it definitely felt like a giant labor of love from everybody. And Iman, who plays Ms. Marvel, so smart, so lovely, so talented, but also very much like she's number one on the call sheet, but again, very much we all felt like a team. It didn't feel like there was one person here and everybody else below. And as a result, there was this cohesiveness that I loved so much. Every single day, I was just excited to go to work because everybody was having a great time and everybody was there to create this new thing that the world had never seen before, even slightly different from the comics. and to do it in a way that was painting, the story was painted on the canvas of a culture and of a demographic. However, that was just the canvas. It wasn't the story, right? I'm going to butcher this analogy now that I've started it, but as a result, like, we got to tell this beautiful story of a coming of age, of a stepping into her power, that just, and she just happened to be from this culture, and that is what informed a lot of her life, but not necessarily her decisions. And yeah, I loved every minute of it. Still friends with folks from the cast, with Sana, who created it. Like, it was a special, special, special time. Oh, don't make me pick one. It's like picking your favorites. It's like picking your favorite child. I would have loved to be on Peaky Blinders. I don't know where they would have put me, but Aunt Polly, and God rest her soul, Aunt Polly was one of my favorite characters of all time. In fact, I based my character in Candela Obscura, the series one of the other series that I did with Critical Role, was sort of an homage to Aunt Polly from Peaky Blinders. So I love her. Really, anything that lets me be sort of a badass action hero right now. I feel like I haven't, that's one thing that I haven't yet had a nice long experience with. So I don't know what the plans are for The Last of Us, because obviously there are some things that happen in the game that make the story a little bit harder to move forward. But that would be great. I'd love to be on Fallout. I would love, 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 love so much. Not just because I was in the game, but I just love the world. I love the world that they've created there. I'm trying to think, like, there are a million shows right now, and I can't think of any of them because now you've asked me the question, and I'm going to think of it at 3 o'clock in the morning and be like, I want to be on this show, and I wish I was. Anything in the Star Trek universe, too, for sure. Anything in the Star Trek universe. I feel like I'm more of a Vulcan. I've been told I'm more of a Romulan. I don't think that's a compliment, but I'll take it. Anything on the Star Trek universe, for sure. So many great stories, because every set that I have worked on, it's been remarkable to me, and it shouldn't be remarkable now because it's happened so many times, but so many, you hear so often, never meet your heroes, and my experience has been completely the opposite of that. Anytime I've met someone that I already admired in the public eye, they turned out to be lovely. They turned out to be generous and inviting, and on all of the sets that I've worked on, that's been the case. The Sopranos was absolutely no different. I mean, they were at the height of their fame. It was season 6 that we were filming. Unfortunately, spoiler alert, unfortunately for the episodes I had, Jim Gandolfini was in a hospital bed and couldn't actually talk, so we didn't get to have moments of conversation. But again, even he was so welcoming. Edie Falco was so welcoming. The moment that I actually remember, or the experience that I actually remember the most, was from a smaller show called Kevin Probably Saves the World, with Jason Ritter, who is one of the kindest, funniest, most hardworking people you will ever meet in your entire life. And the show itself, the episode itself, was super fun. I got to play this woman who had a limited time on the planet because she knew that she had cancer, and he encouraged her to really live it up during the time that she had. And so, you know, we went and toilet papered a house and did all sorts of crazy stuff together. And this memory that I have is so simple, but he was sick, he had bronchitis, and he was still working. He was working himself, like working like a dog, and we were shooting this scene, and it was a night shoot, and we kept having to go, when between takes, we would go into the little house where we were shooting, and we just sat there watching the Carbonaro Effect and chatting it up. And this guy who was the lead on the call sheet, which sets the tone for every set that you're on, despite being sick, despite being tired, was so funny, was so welcoming. We had such a great time. And to this day, every time I see him, is just the warmest person. And I carry that with me a lot, because not only was it fun to shoot, it was fun to be on set. And that for me is a really important thing, because you're spending a lot more time on set than you're actually shooting. Yeah. So, yeah, that's definitely a core memory now, you know. How often do you get to toilet paper a house and put peanut butter on someone's locks and, you know, do all sorts of stuff with that? But Jason is that's a great memory, for sure. I am still so blown away by the whole experience of recording Overwatch into it becoming the thing that it became. And part of that for me personally, and I know for a lot of the actors who were in it, is just the love from the community surrounding the game, but also just surrounding games in general. I've done TV, theater, film, all of that, but I've never met quite so supportive a community as the gaming community. And I fell madly in love with them thanks to Overwatch. So I think one of the other things that I love about that community that's based around the game is that they aren't necessarily all players. Everybody knows the lore. Everybody has a way in because Blizzard enabled them to have it by creating the comic books and creating the cinematics and all of the short stories. So even if for whatever reason you can't play the game, there's a way into that universe. And I think that's been really special. So I think that's been part of the staying power, not just of the game and then the new iteration of it, but also the staying power of this community. Because the central tenet of the story is the world is worth fighting for, and here is a world worth fighting for, and we can all be heroes because the world needs more heroes. So that uplifting connectivity, that right there, I think is probably the number one reason. That, and it's a really fun game, so that helps. But I think that reach goes far when you include as many people as you do. Yeah. You're gonna have to do rock, paper, scissors. There we go. I have been an actress for 3 decades, and so I was already in the entertainment field when I came into voiceover. So my entree to it didn't necessarily include the phase of training because I had already done so much training in the theater and whatnot. But I think the biggest challenge, I think it's the same challenge that we're finding in all mediums. Because there are so many names attached to things, and quite often we will pull in, or companies will pull in Hollywood talent, or will pull in movie talent or TV talent. For people who are just starting out, those roles that used to be starting out roles, there are fewer and farther between because everybody's been kind of pushed down. The people, like in television, the people who were series regulars are now guest stars, the guest stars are now co-stars, the co-stars are now waiting for, things like that. So I think while there is a tremendous volume of stuff to do, I just think it can be challenging to create your own name in that space. And I would encourage any voice actors who have done the necessary training and they know their craft. That's just the baseline. All of us have to do that. All of us at some point or another have to learn how to act and do that. But I think once you've gotten past that, the business of it is not just be good at your job and be able to fit into things, but creating your own path and really figuring out what makes you unique and what is your voice, not just your actual voice, but what is the voice you speak to the world with? What are the messages that you carry? What are the things that make you you? That is about that is the thing that enables artists to withstand the test of time, I think. Understanding their uniqueness and then figuring out where that lives in any medium. Because otherwise, anyone can step into that role, right? And then, of course, there is the just existential threat of AI that everyone is living under right now, which is a little bit challenging. But I think the answer there, it's obviously a much more complicated question and conversation, but again, I think the answer there is figuring out for each of us what makes us so unique that AI becomes a tool for us rather than competition. If your community who surrounds you knows you, AI can't replace you. They might be able to mimic your voice, they might be able to make it look like sort of you in a video, but they can't replace you as a person. Not yet, thankfully. So that, again, voice actors, artists of all kinds, I think it's the same challenge, is figuring out and cultivating that piece that makes you uniquely you.